video?
Yeah.
I was inspired because just that like this is an issue for like my generation or everyone's like generation that are students, and I think it's really cool that it's like it's not necessarily an issue that's like, you know, just for like the parents or just for people to talk about and you not really resonate with it. I think it was like really cool that I kind of like found my voice like through poetry, and I'm really passionate about this subject, and I think that the best way for me to kind of say this in a way that's not like too passive aggressive or just like come off like too angry is just like state it through poetry. And yeah, I really love poetry.
So I was inspired by when I went to Zambia this summer, and we got to go to a village every day, but this one particular village, a girl got sick. She started seizing, and the Americans kind of freaked out because they weren't doing anything about it. Like, they didn't call 911, and no like parents rushed or anything. There was no medicine, like nothing happened. We just kind of watched her, and like the kids kept singing the song that we were singing, and us Americans were kind of just like staring and like on the verge of tears. We just like didn't know what was happening, and we saw that like they didn't have the means for the medicine that we have for diseases like epilepsy, which is what the girl had, and so I just saw how much we take for granted in that, and how serious like stuff like that can be.
That's like about me and my faith, and kind of like growing up in the church and my dad being a pastor. I like didn't really take ownership of it, and I really didn't see it as like something important, and I kind of had this like romantic enchantment with like not following rules and like anti-legalism and like not wanting to follow rules. Yeah, that's kind of what it's about.
I feel like I got really into it because of writing club. Like last year I was in creative writing at my old school, and the classes were just so much bigger, and I never like had enough confidence to share my poems, and so I never really got into them. But at writing club it was just like kind of a smaller group of people, and we all like had an opportunity to share and like hear each other's, and yeah, so I really got to get into that, and I got really good feedback, and so that was really encouraging.
I've always loved it. Like since I was like second, third grade, I've always just loved like just writing little poems about like random little things. But then I think like 2 years ago I started writing poems about like social issues, and I think that that's when I really grew as like a writer, was like talking about things that are going on in the world in kind of more of a creative way through poetry.
My brother pretty much. He does like spoken word poetry.
So Hannah Denny was my shadow. I got to shadow her. And then over the summer, I was trying to like kind of know people before I went to school here, and she invited me to writing club to kind of meet people from the school. And Miss Smith leads it, so she's a teacher here. And so I got to meet a lot of like new students, and yeah. So Hannah.
Well, I heard about it from just people in my grade and people that I was friends with, and then I talked to Miss Smith about it, and it was something that I was like super excited to be a part of, because I think that to have like as a writer to have an outlet to talk about your writing and to have other people hear your writing and then to talk about their writing with them is just a really cool opportunity, and I love going.
During the school year, I really liked it because we get to get outside of school as like classmates and just be like friends and encouragers and do something we're really passionate about. I think all of us that go are pretty passionate about writing, and even if they don't like some people just don't like bring stuff all the time that they write, but they like to just be there in each other's presence and listen. to each other's like thoughts and creativity.
It's such like a safe place, and I always just get so excited for it because there's so many different people that go to writing club. It's not just like, you know, the people who love English class or the people who, you know, are, it just is like a really great outlet for just everyone who just loves to write and who loves just kind of talking about like creative writing. I think it's just an awesome outlet for people to get to know other people through just like creativeness and to talk about just different people's perspectives on like the world. And I love how that like we'll have a prompt and we'll talk about that prompt, but then sometimes we go into like deeper, meaningful conversations about certain things that I wouldn't necessarily have conversations with that person outside of writing club. So I think that's just a really awesome.
Okay, I'm Carolyn Shonquile, and you're watching Disney Channel.